Hello. So,
I already started the records.
okay.
Kicsit feljebb állítottam a kamerát, mert gondolom mával akarsz megprezentálni. Vagy hát ha nem, akkor meg lejjebb igentem. Ahogy jó, hogy át is rakhatom ide, és akkor.
Oh, this is all right. Okay. I guess, guys, you seeing the share screen, am I right? That's great. Cool. So, is everyone here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna stand or.
If you're not, then I will put here. It's up to you.
I'm confused. I will try to stand.
Okay.
It's better because then at least I can see your eyes. Okay. You guys, you can hear me perfectly? Can you hear me perfectly? Okay, good. Then let me start right away. So this is gonna be a little bit longer monologue presentation. Sorry for it. Obviously, if you have questions, feel free to ask during the presentation or stop me. It's there are some topics which are, I think, maybe more like conversation starter topics, and there are some which are like more like monologues and presentations. Obviously, this won't be a hands-on something tutorial. It will be more like about two things actually. If it allows to go to the next slide, why is it not? Oh. Okay, please, next slide, work. No. Yes, now it's working. Perfect. So, with the prologue part, we are ready. So we get to know each other, and we had this amazing virtual office tour. The next one will be, and that's my topic, will be a short introduction about the art of ArcWiz. But before that, I would like to talk about Brick. And the reason for that, why I want to introduce you the company, because through this introduction, I will tell you lots of things about the industry and how we do things. So as an artist, I think it's really valuable what I'm going to share with you. It's not about how big we are and how cool we are. It's about sharing you a couple of things in general about how we do things in the office, because it can be usable if you work even as an architect, or you work as a freelancer in ArcWiz or in another studio, or if you want to start your own studio. And after that, I will talk about this art of ArcWiz topic. So just to jump in the middle, who are we? Obviously, as you know, I'm an international high-end visualization studio. We are mentioned a couple of times as a top ArcWiz studios, among the top 10, top 10, 20, but obviously how you define that, it's a little bit a big question. Obviously, we are in the high-end segment. Also, it's a statement that we are quite a big studio compared to other high-end architecture visualization studios. And we are also in a kind of special area, because we do mostly design communication service for architects. So we don't work that much with developers, residential developers. So we don't work that much with advertisement companies. We specialize to this design communication, which is for architects, help them to win the competitions, or just support them in a certain phase of the design process. why we are in this segment, because we are not advertisement people. We are mostly, our background is coming from architecture, and basically our desire and professional goal is to work on these cool high-end projects. So not the less like exciting or more commercial residential projects and these kind of things. It's just, you know, from the beginning, that was our goal or professional desire, what we wanted to do. And obviously for this, we had a short list of, you know, desired clients, desired architects, what, you know, I personally also followed and liked from my university times as well. And many of them is on our list as a client nowadays. I guess if you have an architecture background, it's super warm here. So let me open this up. Yeah. Maybe big Bjarke Ingels Group tells you something, or OMA, or Kengo Kuma, or Snøhetta, or Zaha Hadid Architects. So obviously these are well-known architect companies. What we do for them, as I said, design communication in terms of products. Of course, we're delivering them images, animations, movies. It can be a simple fly-through movie or even an advertisement clip. So that's a quite big range. But we do sometimes, time to time, we have to do VR content, but 360 content for them. It happens still not, you know, widely used, especially in these special projects. Yeah, but also I would say 80% of the activity goes to this, but it's already, and it's increasing. 20% goes to working with creative production studios, more to the media and entertainment business. So we work with, for example, The Mill. It's a big agency. We worked on through them with Walt Disney, for example. We're working nowadays with Google, for example. If you open now Google Meets and you turn on the virtual backgrounds, many of the visualization that you can by default put behind you is made by us. Or probably this name tells you something, Screen Opera. They are quite well known, also because of Archviz and also about some projects what they do. So we work with them as well, and this is an increasing part of BRIC where we are active. Just a side note, I think it's important to mention, because I can see even like people who had great experience in architecture visualization, that they are kind of confused or mix things up. So I think it's important when we're talking about creating architecture visualization, they define the purpose. And these are like super different areas, just people sometimes mixing it up. So it's really important to differentiate, like you do visualization for design communication purpose and working with architects to help them sell their design. For that, I think you need a little bit stronger architecture background. If you do visualization for marketing purpose, for example, for a developer or advertisement companies to support their marketing activities, to sell apartments with visualization, it's another kind of activity. And if you look at the high-end segment and you already value for that, it's better to have a strong advertisement mindset and background to be successful in that. Of course, for both of it, you need the same software knowledge and skills. But at the end of the day, it's a huge difference between the two. Can you tell me like one typical studio who are doing like similar profile as us and high-end studio and working mostly with architects and doing design, communication, visualization? Any?
Mir?
Yes, MIR is typically similar profile.
I won.
Yeah. Anything else? Nope. Okay, like Pixel Flakes or Beauty and the Beat, or who else? Similar studio as us. There is this other one in London. also not the Pixelfix, but the other one, Arc9, probably you know that. These are usually small studios. So the one thing that you can realize immediately, even if you look at MIRs, that they are smaller studios. So we are kind of in a unique position, because if you look at the profile studios compared to them, we are, I'd say, 10 times bigger in terms of size. And can you tell me a studio who is doing ArcViz and more on the advertisement part of ArcViz?
Advertisement part?
Part of ArcViz. Oh, what's happening? Wow, this is scary. Sorry.
My studio, Kawaki,
Okay.
and I think a lot of studios make for advertise.
Yeah, but maybe some like well-known or famous one.
Image.
Yeah, it's partly they're doing right for residential.
Yeah,
Less
it's not
luxury.
for residential, but
Yeah. Yeah, but they do
wine.
it. Yeah. Yeah, right. That's a nice example. There is one really famous, which is probably known by all of you. It's originally it's a USA-based studio, starting with the D, ending with the box. And the box, yeah. The box is typical of advertisement. It actually became a creative agency nowadays, so it's not anymore even a visualization studio, but originally it was. So these are like huge difference. We are not competitors at all, basically. We never compete with them or barely compete with them. Okay, cool. We understand this. So just not all people are in this, and maybe there are some former employees as well. We are not always updating it. Just a short history. So Brick is 10 years old, and we grow from 3 people to 100 plus during these 10 years. Obviously, we started Brick in a really lucky moment, a lucky situation. So I'm not saying it's a pure luck, but obviously starting a studio like this in Hungary 10 years ago was a good moment and good time. And obviously this was, like at that time, we didn't realize that, but today, if we evaluate the situation, we would start now, we would have a much harder job to push the company in this growth, obviously. Why? Because this market at that time we started was barely existing. It was already a ArcViz market, but so small with not many players, so there was lots of room to fill. Today is a little bit different, but it's still true, the statement that every year this market is growing overall by 20%, including, of course, the software market and the service market and everything, but the overall it's growing 20% yearly, which is a huge growth and huge opportunity. Now it's valued, I know it's bullshit, but it's there, around $3 billion USD, the value of this market. And in less than 10 years, by 2030, it will be 10 times bigger than this 3 billion. Okay. Obviously, Brick in terms of revenue, it's quite big. Also, worth it's around 5-6 million euro in 2022, which sounds a lot for an ArcViz studio. Not a lot if you consider 100 people, but don't forget, Brick is still mostly active in a lower cost country. So that's the reality of that. Probably if this company would be a London-based company, this revenue would be double or something. But obviously that's part of our heritage. How can I say it? And you cannot change that. Obviously, the ambition with Brick is to go even more international. This is why we're opening more satellite offices, and the end game of this, then Budapest will be just a satellite office, and we're going to have a headquarter in a more usable country, a more safe country, let's say that. So that's the end game. We definitely in a ambition to grow, not anymore just organically, but we are considering buying small companies. So not just organically, but by buying or merging with other big players and continue to grow. We are definitely an international company, not just in terms of clients. So we are barely doing any Hungarian projects, but also the team as well. More than 50% of the team, I think it's already 60, there is the 60 are non-Hungarians. Also here in the Budapest office, more than half of the people are non-Hungarians. And this percentage is increasing. Why is that? Because Hungary is a small country. This is relatively a big studio. And don't forget, Budapest is still, compared to the size of the country, we have many well-known studios here. Probably you, besides us, you know, Zoa, it's a well-known visualization studio. Eve Images has an office here in Budapest. D-Box has an office here in Budapest. And then we have non-Arquis players as well, but taking the same pool. DigiPicture, for example, it's a huge 3D production company, mostly for games, intros. So it's a huge, many players in a small country. We have no education system to support this. So we do, I think there is 2 or 3 schools maximum teaching this kind of stuff in Hungary. And we are sitting now one of them. And you can see how many Hungarian faces in this call. 1, which is more than average, because usually we don't have Hungarians. No, not at all. The only change now we managed to make that we finally managed to convince MOME. This is a Hungarian design school, university, that we do a program with them. And on that course, we just started it last week. There are more Hungarians, but not all of them are Hungarians, even from a Hungarian school. Okay, let's continue. I told you this, but Budapest, Cluj-Napoca, we have a small, not anymore small, actually with 15 people. We have a production in Cluj-Napoca as well. Verona now it's free. It's gonna go to 5, 6 later on. Next week I'm gonna travel there and visit them. Hopefully it's gonna grow a little bit. And we're planning to have more satellite offices like this and more remote workers. The idea of this is to basically go in the direction what we see it's gonna happen, that most of the companies who are using technology and want to remain in the game, we have to let it go the local, and we have to forget about that, and basically creating a platform which allows you to work wherever you want, get the knowledge what you need. And yeah, that's the future, obviously. But I think it's a general statement for every company. So yeah. Okay, I will skip this slide. This is just about the office, but we did the amazing virtual tour. Yeah, I mentioned the company culture, the diversity. You know, obviously, if we go more online and more remote, this we're gonna miss. So it's important part of our culture, this diversity. You will get to know them. It's a super friendly environment. Sorry guys, I'm telling the local guys here now in this message. So they are quite open. Really mixed. It's like, I said maybe 15, but I think it's more than 20 different countries. So literally all over the world, which is exciting. But if you get from the other side, what kind of people are these people? I always tell Brick is a good combination of crazy artists and nerds. That's basically a good discussion or overview about what kind of people are working here. And yeah, obviously for this job you need both, so it makes sense. And there is one side note to this. It's the reason why you are also sitting here is that obviously education and supporting each other is something what was always in the cornerstone of Brick from the beginning. So if you look at how many artists we could recruit during these years, and not all studios could do it, it's because of this kind of behavior. It means that basically we are educating ourselves. We don't look for senior artists. Even nowadays, are we looking for, of course, if we find a good talented senior, we try to give them an offer. But in general, we are looking for talents, not experience. That's why you're sitting here. Obviously, that this academy, we made this academy to find those talents, give them a knowledge, and if they are interested to joining us, why not? That's the main mission of the academy. And we have a track record of being succeed in this. We have many academics working in the office, but this is like from the beginning is the cornerstone how we do things. And this is what we will try to do with you guys as well, with this mentoring. I guess you get a little explanation what is how we will do this teaching. So it won't be a step-by-step click here, do that, and it will be not a step-by-step guided, overall guided course. It will be give you more freedom and then give you enough time for each of you from the mentors to really work together. And I think that's really effective based on our experience. Okay. But obviously Brick is, we will talk mostly about the production part of this, but don't forget Brick is as a company, it has a bigger structure. You saw all the back office functions up there with all the people. Obviously, we needed this structure in order to grow, in order to serve these 100 people, smooth operations, not break promises towards our clients, keep the quality consistent. So you need that system, and also you need the other functions in order to fulfill the long-term strategic goals of Brick. So let's start with, obviously you can see there's production, sales, support, which includes finance, HR, planning, IT. We have an R&D activity, and the two side projects is obviously this academy and PAUS that I mentioned to you. But let's start with the production. This is where most of the people are actually in the company, but all others are, as a function, equally important in Brick. So let's start with still image production. So as I said, we have work groups. Some of the work groups are only doing still images. Some of the work groups are doing still images and time to time movies. And some of the work groups are only doing movies. So we have this mixed activity. I want to talk more about the still image workflow, because this is something useful, what you will definitely learn a lot how we do things, and then you can maybe learn from it in your way how you do images. It's important. It's not a secret that still 60–70% of our income is coming from still images. Every year we deliver more than 1,500 final images. But if I include the drafts and or revision runs, it's more than 10,000 images what we deliver to our clients. But it's a huge challenge that many of these projects never be public. You will not see on our website, you will not, it won't be visible ever, because when competitions, they failing on the competition and they don't want us to public it, or just later we have to wait many years to get, make it public, because they still continue working on the project and the design and not able to publish the images. You will see a couple here, which is not public. So don't take photos, please. But yeah, just a funny screenshot. This is like a collection, a montage of images, what I took a couple of months ago. This was a result of 1 day work, draft runs for 3 or 5 projects. 3 projects. Yeah. Usually every day we posting every images what we deliver to our clients in a chat, and I saved it, not all of them, but for these 3 projects, and that was the outcome. This is 3 different projects and the drafts what we delivered for those 3 projects. I just put it here to see, like, you know, if you look at all of them, some of them are quite already like working as an image and almost perfect. And just want to highlight that, you know, the goal here, and I'm going to show you a couple of images in the next slide, is to be effective and to basically from the beginning creating drafts and ideas in a really high quality really quickly. That's the key of success, because making good draft is a key of success doing a cool image. So surprise, surprise, you come for a post-production course, but mostly we will talk about how to do drafts efficiently, because that's going to help you to push the quality in higher quality. Of course, it includes maybe matte painting, maybe lots of Photoshop, obviously, which is a help, but the main goal here is to teach you how to efficiently do drafts quickly, make sketch ideas in a really good quality, which is already convincing. Okay. Just a couple of final images what we delivered, just showcasing the amplitude of small scale to big scale. Obviously small scale. Yeah, still small scale, Norwegian kindergarten. This is commercial, bigger commercial projects. Master plans, many of those, China, Saudi Arabia, some signature buildings, Louis Vuitton headquarters. It's really ugly bags, but whatever. Museums, this is also not going to be public ever. Yeah, just in English. Yeah, so statues and memorials. This is what was for Kengo Kuma, and also many non-art projects as well. We see more. We show you, or the edge of that. You know, when even you're not working anymore with an architect, but art quiz related topic. This is when they come to us sometimes, or Living Earth. This is for Mars, or at least it was, I think, for Bjarke group. It's a test project for the Saudi Arabian desert, but the idea is to make a habitat for Mars, and some others which are even not also the image is not for, you know, building which gonna exist, but more like meta buildings which not gonna will be in a virtual environment, metaverse or all of these new trends which is happening. So this was also basically a project which was made for metaverse. Yeah, so I brought this case study for you. This is was for your French architect office called EFI. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not sure. It was I think 2 or 3 years old project, so not brand new. It was an education center in Letovo. And I just want to show you how we delivered it and the lesson learned from it, workflow and everything. So still, we delivered like 4 or 5 pages for this project. Okay, and here's the secret, the Excalibur of workflows. No, obviously there is nothing new in this. You have drop downs, you're fixing the comments, and then you deliver the final image. Surprise, surprise, there is no secret here. Probably you do the same. in your time, just probably not like this, and we never do like this because we have usually more rounds and more changes and more fuck ups. But that would be the idea, right?
They are just to draft, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do also draft before to.
Yeah,
to revise.
exactly.
Yeah.
But what is important to highlight, what's happening in these first two drafts, and that's the key. And that's what I will try to explain why this initial drafts or ideas are important. Even if you don't have the final model, or there are hundreds of changes happening, or even the building is changes, there are things that you can do in order to convince your client about certain things which they should be convinced. Draft. So we usually, whenever we do a round, we try to, put it in a not just, drag and drop in the email chat, the actual pictures that we did, but we try to, make basically a nice package where we are in the workflow. When do we expect the feedback and everything else? It is sometimes useful, most of the time not, but at least we are acting professional from our side. But it's important when we're doing the drafts, and let's open this up. This is the first draft package what we delivered for this project. I think altogether we had to do 4 images for this client. And in the first draft package, we delivered this many options for clients and this quality. Okay, what you see here, 1, there are many options. 2, is that the images, according to my expectations, are quite good already. I would say some of them are ready to go for print. Yeah, and that's the moment probably when you say, okay, come on, that you had time to model and each of them was made within this. No, one artist doing this kind of drafts in a day, 2 or 3, more like 3 drafts like this in a day. And that's the moment when probably, oh, that's impossible or really hard to do. But that's actually what we'll try to explain you how we do things in order to able to do this. If you look at any other high-end studios like MIR or other studios, they do exactly the same. That's the key. Why it's so damn important to do these initial drafts successfully. Because going with this package with the client, you immediately gain a certain trust level that you're gonna able to deliver that quality what they want to see. So you won't have these promises that, oh yeah, this is just a screenshot from Max, and this is the reference what I will do. And maybe the client is able to connect that two dots together, maybe not, but you're definitely not gaining trust at that moment. So it's a tool for politics also. You have a better position. And also, you using these drafts, you can guide, for example, you do one draft, which was the description what the client wanted to have, but it's a fucking nightmare in terms of mood, in terms of composition. You know the deal, I guess, some of you. But if you next to it, and you can intentionally do it a little bit weaker, these drafts, and do something more what it's going to work and fulfilling the same goal what the other one wanted, and you make it better. And then you put the whole thing, and this is what you requested. You say it's not that good, but if you choose this one, it's better. It's a constant, and believe me, many times we still fail to do this. So it's not working all the time, but your chance to push forward the client in a good direction, which is good for both of you, because the end result will be good and the image will be more convincing. You have a higher chance to win in certain situations. I'm not saying that this workflow is always working fluently. I'm saying that this is probably you have a higher chance to be successful with the client. And yeah.
Sorry, does it mean that this amount of picture was made by like 7 or 8 people?
I think less. How many images is this?
It's like, I don't know,
1, 2, 3,
25 or
4,
something.
5. I think it's four artists.
Uh-huh.
4 artists. Maybe it was like just 2, but in 2 days.
But in 2 days.
Yeah, something,
but like
I
the
don't know
amount of work.
exactly,
Uh-huh.
but something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, something like simple like this. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's like,
It's faster.
yeah, it's really quick, and some of them is like huge cheating because it's just a photo match. You know, like one photo, and just the building is there, and that's it. And one of them is probably whoever who did this, probably that person worked like half a day on this and maybe do another option. So it's and maybe others did 4, depending like what they had to do. But let me show you a couple of examples how it went through. This is going to be 3 images from the beginning till the end. From altogether, it was 4. So this is all the revisions and changes what we did on the images. This one is quite shocking because we only had 2 rounds of changes. What happened here? It's obviously super successful because, you know, usually this was done all together. Net production time is 3 days, and usually we counted 5 or 6 days of production. So this was a super cool, successful images because the client with the initial draft was perfectly happy. If you look at it, there is not many things change on this image, which is pretty cool. Obviously, what you can see that during the process, they realized they may need windows for kindergarten, surprise. But finally, we could do that even during the process, update the model, because we could keep the camera, math elements, everything with the updated model, which was great. So simple, straightforward, and we cut some times and win extra profit on this. Why? Because the initial drafts was a win-win on both sides. Let's see this one. Oh, there is a additional round in this case. Why? The initial draft was good. The initial draft was kind of happy, both of us, I mean, client and also us. The only thing in this case that obviously there was no landscape design, and we proposed something for the landscape, and they come back that, okay, good, but change this. And then by the time we design it, they send the final landscape design, and you know the deal. So landscape designers should keep the deadlines all the time because you fucking up the visualization
Yeah,
studios.
you're always the last one.
Yeah. So obviously this is an example for extra work, not because of the quality of the bad draft or quality of the image, but more like changes. Okay, this happens. You don't have to win every battle, you have to win the war. What we lose here, we could win them on the other image. And then after that, I didn't have to say that, oh, guys, extra cost, additional cost because of blah, blah, blah changes. We had all the reasoning why, but you don't want that because you know that the landscape designer is so slow and sorry. Just joking.
Does it mean that you have in your contract, like how much changes can the client have?
Yeah,
Or it's like.
you can write it in the contract.
No, I mean, not like that, but how can you say that when is it enough? Like,
That's the $1 million question, literally. If someone knows that each client is different, each project is different, it's politics constantly. We're so random. You can be helpful for a client in one moment, and the next month you are not able to do it because, for example, you don't have capacity to resolve that issue. So it's so random. You want to be consistent, you want to have contracts, but we know how an architecture competition works. You either try to your best and control it, try to be super strict. Maybe it's possible, maybe not, who knows? I mean, it's also up to you what you can take and what you cannot. But I cannot give you advice because this is like, wow. how can I say, it's a wrong fucking question or stupid question, because you cannot answer that. Many clients are willing to pay additional cost if you can convince them that this is additional work. Many of them are not happy to do it.
They will give the fault to you in 100% cases.
Mhm.
Maybe they give the fault to you because they say that you didn't convince me, even if it's not true.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe they know you're right, but this is also like someone in second or third in command and afraid they're trying to protect their own ass and not coming back with extra cost, which was like obviously his fault.
That's what
And
is
they-
happening. Yeah.
I will do the same if it's possible. And obviously all of it is complicated, And maybe this workflow with the drafts is something what you can do in order to improve the success rate, to be successful. But there is no perfect solution, and here it is why it's not. So there was something what the client wanted to see the entrance, and we have a good initial draft, not even a first round, not even a second round. Also, they had some input what they really wanted to see on this image, and it didn't work that well. And we have had like 2 or 3 additional rounds on this image. So I think it's a good example for 2 things. One, based on client expectations, sometimes you have to do something which is, it's not going to work. 2, if you do a weak draft based on that and they choose that, then probably you will have a much harder time to do a good image. And at the end, it's not so amazing image, this one. Yeah, again, you don't have to win all the battles, you have to win the war. Okay, guys, any question for this workflow? There online and here physically? There's no question, we can continue.
Start project, when a project is start, how many people can make drafts? And customer choose one draft, and the next one artist work with this draft. Yes.
Yeah, a good question. It happens sometimes. So basically your question is how many artists doing the drafts, and after that, how many continues to working on the draft. This is why we're trying to maybe, it's really depending on lots of things. First of all, we try to make a situation when the artist who made the draft can continue to work on the image, but it's not all the time possible. But that's how we want to do it. So, for example, sometimes we plan with 2 days of drafting with less artists, because then that 2 artists is actually making all the drafts within 2 days. So we have a higher chance that probably that artist will continue to work on the images. But it really depends on like many things, how our capacity looks like, how they were allocated for the project. But yeah, that's basically, I don't know if I managed to answer.
Yes. And one more question, in draft, then artist make draft, customer say of frame of imagination. I see a lot of snow picture with snow with in summer picture, and customer says that he should look in draft. Sorry.
You mean that we are doing drafts which are they are too crazy moods or not related to the location where we do? Obviously, that has to be balanced. So usually when we're making drafts, every time when we start the project, we have an initial input from the client, what kind of views they want, what kind of things they're looking for in that project, and we taking that into account when we're doing these drafts and not doing palm trees and a Norwegian project or something like that. That's an obvious thing. It is true that in many cases, If we have time, we do some out of the box ideas in terms of moods and things. And sometimes they choose those, which is funny because if you would go just with that idea and not doing what they wanted to have originally, you ended up, like getting a complaint that, oh, you didn't do that what we looked for. Okay, this looks cool, but we need that. But if you provide them both, they might choose your idea instead of the other one. But if you don't do their ideas, they will complain that, okay, I didn't see that option, what I thought you should do it. So we all the time try to implement their ideas if it's possible and show it to them and show some out of the box crazy fog or whatever, when we find a good reference to match with. Of course, it's also important that you shouldn't make client angry. So if you have a super cool draft package, now one of them is so stupid, for example, putting palm trees in Norwegian forest, then you make them angry, which is bad. So you shouldn't have a poison apple in the package. That's important. So we always constantly carefully selecting the good ones from the bad ones. So usually, and this is why I'm saying there are more drafts made in a day, and many of them wasn't not choose internally to send to the package to the buyer.
And I saw there are some, for example, between the drafts, there are also some difference in the project, like some changes between the first till the end.
Yeah.
So you are, if you see something that doesn't work in the project, you can change it up to the client, or you usually don't do it.
You mean?
I mean, project or architectural changes in the project.
Okay.
Yeah. That I mean.
It depends on the
Because
project.
I see there are some difference, like for example, in the sketches that you showed us before, there were some changes in the project as well.
Yeah, it's like, for
Not just
example,
in the
this one.
sketches. For example.
Yeah, this one here, you can see like that was the original model when we received, and they updated the model during the process. Of course, this is like the moment when, if they do changes which is not affecting the composition, that's great. And you can do even like big changes, when you have a strong draft with matte painting, lighting, everything, it's easy to implement the new model in there. But obviously, if the model changes so much that it's fucking up your camera, your mood, then that's the discussion of starting additional.
It will change lights, it will change a lot of things. So something could be.
Yeah. It's like from that point, it's a a situation, but you have to evaluate if it's how big is to do with restart the project or restart the drafting phase. For example, it happens that they send a new model after the first draft round, and then the second draft we say, okay, guys, we're gonna do an updated model. We are forced not to do that angle what you choose in the first draft round because the model is not fitting to that. We will come up with suggestions. We will say that, okay, it means that we can implement this. We will keep the existing workflow, but it means that basically we have less round to comment in the initial phase because we already did the first draft round. We have to throw them out, and so this is also giving a certain flexibility towards the client. You basically reduce just the revision round, but not pushing them immediately with the extra cost.
That's what is happening to me really, really often. That they change the project while I did already 3D and renders. And
this is why it's this workflow is not an Excalibur for everything, and it's resolving. It's one thing, two things. If you look at this, it changed a lot. This model changed a lot. Also the contour of the building and a couple of other things. Also, I think the direction as well, but we could a little bit rotate it and cheat it. And funnily, most of the most valuable work was we didn't have to throw it out because the camera was fixed, the mood was fixed, everything else changed. And of course, it was a situation where we could resolve this. It's not possible all the time, but if you agreed already with something where the client is happy with the light, happy with the camera position, and you have to update the model, and you can, create the same camera and mood and lighting and everything, then maybe the change is less painful for you as well as an artist. Okay, we spent a little bit too much time with this. Sorry, guys. Second part, animations. Actually, I have the showreel here, but I think all of you saw Brick showreels or check the website, so I don't want to play it for you now, guys. So I will skip this if I can. Can I? Please work. Upload, play video. Okay, then I will skip that one. This is another showreel. Whenever I have a YouTube video, it's freezing. I'm not going to talk about in details about movie production, because this course is more about image production. I just want to show you one special project, which is probably you saw it on our website, but not in this form, because we had to change a couple of things, and the music is cooler with this version, but on the website it has to be different. It was for a 3D printing company called Icon, but they are building buildings, and this was a test project for a marsh habitat. The design was made by Beat Pringles Group, and the client was NASA in the end. So it's a cool project when we worked 2 years ago. Okay, let me share the sound, because I think it's not shared for the guys. I think share sound. Of course, we have to change the music because that's happening in alone. Would have been a pricey music. Stop it, please. Okay. Yeah, just a side note for movie production. So obviously, as I said, and there was a question before when we had the virtual tour, but I'm not sure if the guys heard it. So obviously we have journalists in the office. It means that from the beginning till the end, as the idea workflow, so everything is done by one person from modeling till the end, final touches, everything. So we don't have these factory chain production method. Also true for the movie teams, with some exceptions. So for example, we have a render wrangler. You have that? Render wrangler? Render wrangler. No. Okay, that was the guy who sits next to the server room, and he's only responsible for the rendering jobs in Brick. And if there is a mistake, he can open the file, fix it, and restart the job. Okay. So of course, from this side, you need this kind of guys as well, or some specialists who are more specialized in, for example, different simulations like this. You saw this smoke simulation, and particle simulations, water simulations. So we have this kind of expertise in the office. But of course, this is like still ArcWiz. So if you look at the Hollywood studio, production studio, you know, there are like really like fully equipped guy who is only responsible for water simulation or fire and gas smoke simulation. This is still like kind of general what we do here, but we have these special people in the office who can do this job. And of course, this knowledge is we increase it constantly because obviously these complicated projects, they need more of that expert in it. And also just a side note that obviously I won't talk about movie production, but funnily the workflow is pretty similar, except with one big difference. In the beginning, we have this pitch and storyboarding phase, initial phase where we basically make a pitch and storyboard how the movie should be, what should be the story and everything. That's a really important part in this whole workflow, but the rest is pretty similar or comparable for the whole thing. And nowadays we're using also sometimes Midjourney and other AI tools to generate the storyboard and inspirations, which is scary. Because otherwise that's my next topic, R&D, research and development. And why I'm highlighting this, because basically almost from the beginning, we have this activity constantly in Brick. Obviously, this whole profession is a highly technological dependent profession. And to be on the top of this game all the time and be the more as efficient as possible, doing the highest quality, you need to use constantly the latest tools, or if you don't have the tool, you need to develop it. That's how we made the PALS as well. Basically, the responsibility of research and development is automatization, creating scripts for Brick in order to increase the efficiency of the production, trying new tools, constantly how we can do different workflow, real-time workflow using Unreal or the newest Vantage render engine. You know what is Vantage? Okay, I will show you later. It's a new real-time render engine from Chaos Group, who developed V-Ray as well. Testing cloud, obviously, and testing UIT infrastructures. These are relevant things constantly, especially now, because I guess I'm not saying nothing new for you guys that AI is now killing us and taking our job. And to be honest, if you allow me to a little bit side presentation, and it's a new world element of my presentation, because many years ago I had exactly the same slide in the academic presentation, I think like 3-4 years ago, but I took out because I always talked about this topic and I was like, oh yeah, it's a nice fairy tale, yeah, sure. And that was technological singularity. It's exactly the same slide what I did many years ago. And I took out because the reaction was, yeah, sounds good, but still, we shouldn't be worried about this. So what is technological singularity? And the reason why I do this talk, because I can already see, like in many artists, there is this AI anxiety or fear of AI. Like, you know, we have climate anxiety in children's now, and now we're gonna have AI anxiety. But I want to a couple of things like make it clear and to put it on the bigger, wider view, and maybe a little bit give you, if some of you has this feeling or fear, give you a little comfort if it's possible, a certain amount, but not all. So first of all, let's make it clear where we are. We are, and what we see now. We see AI coming up simply because we are reaching that technological singularity point. Technological singularity, and then I will read it from here because it's easier, In technology, the singularity describes a hypothetical future where technology growth is out of control and irreversible. Irreversible. Yeah. These intelligent and powerful technologies will radically and unpredictably transform our reality and our job, our profession, and our daily life, obviously. This is a really easy definition of technological singularity. Obviously, singularity means is that there's a line where we are not able to see what's going to happen and predict after that. So, for example, in black holes, you can describe this event horizon when and there's the singularity where you are not, because of the mass and everything, we are not able to see what's over there, what's going to happen. It's the same with technological singularity. And lots of people think about this like this, obviously, or we had the idea that, oh yeah, that's the future of this, but not really. In reality, it should be more like this. But still, the question, is it gonna cause us this? Or basically the rise of mankind, civilization 2.0, where you don't have to work and you will be in the paradise. And both theories are probably relevant to at least think about it or read a couple of books about it. The nice thing is that we don't know, because we don't even able to predict nowadays what's going to happen in 1 month with the new AI tools. And that's a nice sign of what is technological singularity. Why this is important? Because this is not something what, oh, well, yeah, we see that technology is improving radically now and quicker and all those things. It's actually a defined law, what actually Gordon Moore described it. He was one of the founders of Intel, so probably describing a couple of things. And basically explain that that Moore's law states basically that the number of transistors on microchips double every 2 years. So the law claims that we can expect the speed and capacity of our computers to increase every 2 years because of this. Yet we will pay less for them. So you can see the exponential curve here, year by year, how the CPU capacity or calculation per second for a constant dollar, how much calculation you get for a dollar year by year. And the crazy thing, if you look at this, okay, this is per $1,000, but it doesn't matter. You can see that, what does it mean? It means that we are reaching a point. This is an order diagram, obviously somewhere here, that we following this exponential curve. It means by 2040, for $1,000, we will get the capacity of, for a second, we will get the capacity of the whole mankind brain capacity for $1,000 for 1 second, which is crazy. So obviously this statement means that the computing power is so increasing, and everything else comes with it, obviously. This is a law which is unavoidable. Of course, there are limitations, but it looks like this logarithmic increase is following this curve till now. So you can think that, okay, this is not going to be well for us. But the question is a little bit, I think, more complicated and nicer. And I want to show you, like, I think at least short term, what is the reality of this? The reality of this, that you're gonna able to talk with these tools, use them as tools in order to boost your production, to be more efficient in communication. And in the meantime, you can already have fun with this because it will act or already act like person in a certain situation. So the joke, you can read it. So it's funny, obviously. It also means that this is a next level of accessing that big data, which is already there, and have an unlimited possibility how you access that data. Because actually this is nothing more than a Google search from the same database, but in a way where your interaction with that data is acting like a real person and not anymore a search engine like Google. I wanted to do actually an AI demo here with DALL-E and NVIDIA Canvas, but I will skip that. I guess all of you try these things. Did you? Midjourney?
Yes.
You tried it, Midjourney?
Right.
I will give you a list of what you should try. Okay, today morning I wrote a letter to, I had meetings last week, end of last week in Zurich with some partners. And I had to answer to them, and I had really limited time. But I had to write this, quite good business email. But I had to come up here to start this. So what I did is to write in Hungarian, because it's still my mother language, and I can do better business language in Hungarian. I translated it to with this AI translator called DeepL, and then I copied that to ChatGPT and ask it to make it more professional English and more business-like. And it wrote me the letter, copy-pasted and sent it to them. 3 weeks ago, this was not possible, or 4 weeks ago. This time was probably 5 times longer for me to write that letter, which is crazy. And this is obviously just an email. So what I'm trying to say that, what does it mean? Or other example, I love it. We wanted to post a blog article about the importance of virtual backgrounds in Google Meets. Why? Because we just had this project and we wanted to show the world that we did this. So our creative writer, Evelyn, I asked her to write this article, 1,500 words, and then we make a blog. And then it was a couple of weeks ago, and then we saw ChatGPT, and I asked the same question. Could you write me a blog article about this topic? It should include this and this and this. And if you have any other reasons why we should use virtual backgrounds in Google, then you can include that as well. And it wrote. What does it mean for Evelyn? Is she out of the job? Not necessarily, who knows? But definitely a huge change in her efficiency and the way how she works and how efficient she works, and what will be the job for her in the next 5 years. And this statement is completely true for our job as well. Maybe this statement will be even stronger than how Evelyn will be affected by ChatGPT or other platforms like ChatGPT. So yes, we are the children of singularity. It's a cool word, what I thought I can write it down. My favorite example how this is gonna affect us is basically that we don't have to be afraid of losing the job. We more like have to intentionally accept the fact that our job and our profession will, from the core, change what you do. What you do today or what I teach you today won't matter. It will be outdated within seconds. Sorry. we paid for this course, so I can tell you now. But that's the reality. And I think for us, the challenge that we have to get used to it, because for example, if you look at your parents, they still like went to university, got a job, and they were sure that by the end of their life, they will do that job, they go retire and they will do that job. That knowledge, what they gain in the beginning of their life on the university, they could use that knowledge to do whatever, right? My mother, who was 30 years, 40 years in the secondary stars teaching mathematics. That's it, simple. Well, how I started to go on an architect university. I had my architect degree and I'm doing a job which was not existing when I started the university. And this is still slow. And this is something what you need to process and get used to it. And probably your kids won't have this problem because they are gonna live in a world where they know that the knowledge, the academic knowledge, what you gain from the school, it's not really useful in a way how we processed it in the old days. And they know that they are not able to stop to learn. Constant change, constant adaptation for new tools, and constant acceptance that the computer will be eventually better than us. So a nice collection of Richard Scarry's 21st century busy town jobs, the content aggregator, the far sound app maker, the professional celebrity, which is funny because this was made many years ago. It's already an existing profession, but at that time when this guy made this funny cartoon, it was a not existing job. Now it's existing. Or the climate change denier, we already have that guy. So so now what? No idea, because that's the beauty of this technological singularity, because we are on the edge of that. What I can maybe tell you that, first of all, forget about denying it, because I think many people kind of denying it, that this is like existing and they don't want to use these tools because they are, I think, afraid or evaluate them in a wrong way. So using Midjourney as an artist is not something which is, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just, you have to still think about this as a tool. Is it scary? Yeah, it's scary. But if you try to be a forefront of this and do whatever it takes to use all the tools and look at the possibilities, what you can do and how you can improve your work, that's the best strategy, what you can do. That's because denying all these things is something what it will eventually reach you and kick you out and make your knowledge basically go away, because AI gonna do it, and artists who are using AI tools are gonna be much more successful, much more efficient as you. It is not just AI, it's basically all tools, which is more and more, whatever, you know, if you think through it. So that's my advice. I know it's not necessarily comforting, but maybe it's just as what you can do is a good attitude now, and learn, use tools, force yourself to use these tools, and let's see what's the next. Or you'll go plumbing, and that's a safe job probably for a while, or cooking.
Do you use Midjourney for draft images maybe?
Not draft images because it's hard to control, but for inspiration or certain situations. For example, my brother-in-law opened an ice cream shop in Switzerland, and he didn't have money to in Lausanne and maybe more, as far as I remember. But now he has to Manu Gelato. That's the name of the.
Okay.
I can give you the address and then you can.
Okay, because I live in Switzerland now.
Okay, cool. And he didn't have time, you know, to to get a graphic designer and to do the design of the shop and everything. So he asked me to do it, but I didn't have time. So I generated the illustrations and everything in Midjourney, and that worked. That worked really well. It was, he needed some cute cartoonish ice cream, whatever logo. So I wrote that in Midjourney and it gave me a really good options, and that was it. So for certain things, it's already working. It's hard to control. So, but I think people should put this in the right shelf, because it's definitely a tool for artists and not the opposite. You are not artists if you are able to generate images with prompt. That's silly. That's a silly thing to state. Maybe there will be a level when, you know, you can be like a super complicated prompt artist who can use these tools in a way where, you know, you can implement your own creative thinking, complex thinking in this whole thing. But then, you know, it's a much more complicated mental job than, you know, writing a prompt nowadays. So yeah, for me, it's just random generation of images using the data which is already exists. That's not your mental.
It's not your mental role.
No, not at all. And what's the fun in it? I mean, you're doing this, you get the result. Where is the fun of creation? And that's the nice that on this, it's like you're losing the fun part, and you get the result, and then what's next? There's nothing like you can enjoy.
For imagination, for references.
That's all right. That's all right. But that's then just the tool. That's it. Okay. I will skip this slide. It doesn't matter. A couple of examples, but obviously there are already AI guided databases, which is collecting the AI tools. So probably a slide with 5 examples is not really useful anymore. I will skip these slides. We work together with V-Ray, with Chaos Group, from basically alpha version on this Lavina project, which is a real-time render engine for V-Ray. It's another example how we're trying to do research and development. In this case, we work together with Chaos Group, give them feedback, try to implement in our workflow. We're still trying. In some cases, we already delivered movies rendered with Vantage, not with the normal V-Ray. It's a promising tool. And I want to show you the next slide. This is again not public yet. It's going to be ad for the Vantage 2.0, which was delayed, but it will come this year. And this is the ad what we did for them. So basically, we made an advertisement for Vantage 2.0. The whole thing is rendered in Vantage, so not with the normal V-Ray. You know the story? Nothing new. Okay. Starting again. Okay, I will skip the slides because we're running out of time, and you will see anyway these tools. These are the plugins. Well, we developed Scene Manager or Render Manager. You will love it. Okay. Again, I will skip these slides as well. This is the academy, just you know, what kind of courses we have and everything. What is our mission with the academy? But I think I a little bit touched this topic in my earlier talk, so it's not that important. It's just a side note that altogether 18 academists, which is actually outdated because it skipped last year. So 20 something academists were hired in BRIC, and many of them still working with us. So it's really, for us, it's an important recruiting tool, and you know, it's really great to see the success of these people. So for example, Pedro, who made this Vantage animation, what you just showed, he's the second in command now in the movie production for the whole office. He was a junior academist 3-4 years ago, and he became successful so quickly. So this is also a lesson learned that, okay, how you have to change your profession nowadays, not 5 years, not 6 years, within months. That's something that you need to, you know, also accept. This is just going back to the technological singularity topic. Okay, just 2 minutes about the rest of the company. And just to look for a minute what is under the hood of BRIC. Obviously, during these years, I participated in many conferences and talked with many people, many business owners, amazing guys. And so what I felt overall, and that's my overall impression, that there are lots of talk about like professional questions, art, technology. But in general, I feel like sometimes we're missing a little bit about the business side of this, how you can make a successful business with ArcWiz. Is that possible? And also in BRIC, during the years, it became clearer and clearer that for me, that I need to build up not just a good production team where we create these amazing images, but also a successful business with strategic goals, KPIs, structure and system. So we learned basically how to run a BRIC-like business successfully. We hired experts in finance, in IT, and HR, commercial people. We have our own full company management system, CRM system, capacity planning system to support this. Why? Because BRIC has to be a successful business. Because why? It's not because I need money in my pocket. It's simply we have professional desires what we want to fulfill, to work with these clients on top-notch level. But in order to do that, you need money, because just a simple example, you need the best artists. You have to pay them good salaries in order to, work with this. Or, for example, visit those clients. You have to pay them ticket for the sales team. You have to visit them. You have to spend time with them. All of this is cost money, and without money, without successful business, you are not able to invest in these things. So people, sometimes they confused about this, that this is two opposite things. Either I do something which is my dream job, or making money, and I have to sell my soul for and doing a shitty job. And this is not true. You have to figure out how you can make your business successful. Otherwise, you will struggle, and you are not able to fulfill your dreams, professional dreams, if you are not able to make money what you do. So based on this, basically we have 3 legs how we keep the company happy, which is funny. So of course, the sales job is ideally to make the client happy, and make money for the company. But they have a second mission, is to make the artists happy with projects. Because and basically in Brick, that's the key of success. Brick is a people's business. We are promising good projects for our artists. They come in here because they want to work on these cool, exciting projects, and they want to fulfill their artistic needs. And it means that sometimes we have to go in the direction to keep those people here and keep the quality and all the stuff that we want to do. We need to sometimes go against the flow, meaning that maybe an easier project with bigger money and bigger margins would be able to come in, but we have to say no to this because it's not good for the artists, because they are frustrated about obviously certain projects. So keeping this balance is part of the how you can run the business successfully, because if you lose the interest of the artist or motivation, you're going to lose them and you won't be able to keep your position on the market. Just to highlight of how complicated is this sometimes. So this is a screenshot from our capacity planning system. In the vertical lines, you can see the days. In the horizontal lines, you can see the resources, the artists, and each color is a project with different phases. We have a dedicated capacity planner who is constantly updating this. It's a risk management job, and it's part of also the key for success in order to utilize the team constantly and not break promises towards our clients. So you can imagine it's a quite complicated job. It's in order to have a system like this, obviously you need experts who know how to set up a system like this. Okay, let's go to the next topic. What is ArcWiz according to me or according to the Brick? You don't have to agree with this. It's just opinion of R. But if you don't agree, I think it's still useful for all of us. So the structure will be quite easy. I will try to answer this question in different ways. So what is ArcWiz? ArcWiz for me is applied digital art, which contains actually 3 words, but applied and art is the 2 relevant one. The art part is quite easy to accept and consume as an artist, because that's probably why you choose this profession, because you can do creative work, you can do cool things, and you can basically create your own ideas and show it to the world. That's why you became a 3D artist. So also in Brick, we are proud artists, obviously. If you go to brickvisual.com and go to the Art of Brick, you can see many non-commissioned projects, what we did during the years. Also, I do many projects on my own in my free time. So yeah, just a side note. The harder appeal to take is of course that applied work, because there is another party involved, unfortunately. That's the client. You have to create art, but in the meantime, you have to fulfill the needs of clients, and it will be used for a purpose with a goal. Usually this process is the most challenging for the artists in ArcWiz, because how you can keep the creativity and freedom and keep the artistic values, while in the meantime you make the end user happy, which is the client. Additionally, how do I make money after this process if I can do both? And if even I make the client happy, make myself happy as an artist, I did also money. And I repeat this constantly because it's successful. Then sooner or later you're gonna burn out as an artist, because it will be boring. And how to avoid this burnout? These are most burning questions what comes in your mind if you do this job, and don't expect an answer because there is no good answer. But it just, I think many artists are struggling because they are not raising these questions for themselves at the beginning and during also while they experiencing this. So I believe as an artist, you need to find the tools to solve these issues, or like at least reduce the negative effect on this. Good workflow to control the creative process, what I told you, for example, with drafts, and then you will struggle a little bit less with clients. Being a good politician and good communication skills is actually a need for this job, or not a necessity, but it's important. Effectivity, flexibility, and I could continue. But we don't have to invent all of these things again. To prove my point that this is nothing new, what I'm explaining here, I brought you one example, how an applied artist is using templates, for example, in order to avoid all of these painful things or reduce these painful things. And I intentionally collected something which is not from nowadays, but a little bit older example. Anyone knows who is the painter? I knew you don't know.
From what? From Netherlands?
Yeah, that's getting closer.
I don't remember.
Vermeer. I don't know how you, or Vermeer, I don't know how you have to pronounce it.
Vermeer from the.
Yes, exactly. And the reason why I brought you this, because obviously you can see altogether how many, 5 paintings from him, all of them masterpieces of their own, and obviously it's showing the same studio setup, more or less. Of course, we can dig deep in it about, what are these pictures about, and you can be clever about it. I want to a little bit explain this more objective and down to earth approach to these paintings. The reason why Vermeer had this studio setup all the time, because let's be honest, he was a paid painter. These were mostly, not all of it, but some of them was commission job. And for a commission job, you need to handle the client expectations, the need, the same way. Why it's good to do the portraits in the same studio setup? One, you are able to show it as a reference for the next client, that, it's going to be similar like this. And you see, I can paint like this. And so you are able to control your own environment. And, when you paint the same studio setup, you know everything about it. You know how the light is behaving in the afternoon, in the morning, how you can implement it while you're painting that. So you can control and you can master it, this whole thing. So yes, it's a template. It's a good tool for a commission job to use this template to master the quality, keep the consistency, follow the expectation of the client and everything else. Of course, I try to force it a little bit on this example, but it's probably, and we do the same. Surprise, surprise. Composition A, old image of brick, in the foreground, dark foreground, sunny midground. It's a good tool for highlight the project. You have the dark kulissa, basically framing the picture, and you have the midground with the house, with the sun. So the viewer eyes is focusing on the subject, what you want to show. Other example, even older image with the shooting on. And then many, and the newer ones, same. What is the lesson learned from this? Is that, yes, we are also using templates, nothing new in it, and it's useful. Is it lack of creativity? I don't think so. It's functionally a good tool to push forward the project and be better and better. Because if you look at the first draft, the first image, what I showed you, which was earlier, these are newer ones, like 1 or 2, 3 years old images. you can see the quality improvement with the same template, because we could learn and master how to, be better in this one template. Yeah, even movies, we do the same. Yeah, you can see the framing, dark framing. Yeah, it's always same story. Is it cheating? Yes, but everyone cheats. This is Disney. They are also cheating, trying to cut corners constantly. It's part of the job. It's not what you.
If it works.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Like I remember I had many years ago strong discussions that, oh, you are not a real 3D artist because you have to model everything by your own. You have to need your own models. Otherwise you are not, you cannot import models or stuff. And it's like, nowadays it's a ridiculous statement, but I think, this is again, going back to the fact, using as much as possible tools which is available for you is a key for success. Okay, what is our quiz? Also design communication, according to me, as an architect who wants to work with architects. So basically our philosophy in Brit is simply, we are mediators, we see ourselves as mediators, and we're trying to translate architecture design concept and ideas, architecture programs into understandable, engaging visual content. That's nice. What does it mean exactly? Is that our job is not to do a rendering from one side, other side of the house, how the architect is describing, but showing and explain the architecture program, which includes not just the building, the materials, the facade, but the surroundings. But I'm not just talking about physical surroundings, I'm talking about social also. What kind of people, what kind of activities they do that, how you can be convincing for a local person who knows all the things about their people there, and you have to do it from Hungary. And then that's the key to create an engaging picture. And the real challenge here is that how you can create this engaging picture, because it's not anymore about the building rendering. It's about a complex job where you have to do the story, you have to do the environment, you have to do a composition, which is nice and engaging for a non-professional as well. And that becomes a much more complex job, what an architect can do. You have to be more like having a stronger knowledge in maybe in classical art knowledge, or as a painter, maybe it's more useful, this knowledge, than being an architect. So actually what we have to do is create that engaging visual content. Just another example about design communication. What does this mean today? It's a nice example. What is our job today? And maybe a direction what will be in the future. Just quickly.
Take you through our thinking as we designed the master plan with Axio and his team.
Scream if you know the guy.
The typical street is a mess.
You know the
with
guy?
everything and nothing everywhere. So we started by splitting the typical street into 3 separate forms of mobility. The first type is
Bjarke Ingels.
autonomous with zero emissions,
Himself.
and streets
Projects.
demonstrate the necessary distinction between people and vehicles. The second type will be an urban promenade shared by pedestrians and slower personal mobility. And the final type of street will be a linear park with paths for pedestrians only. So imagine walking from one part of town to the other, moving only through a park. So these 3 types of streets will then weave together into a woven grid of 3 by 3 city blocks, each framing a local park or courtyard.
So design communication. what's happening here? This was in 2020, beginning of 2020, right before COVID. CES, a technological conference, nothing related to architecture. Toyota's keynote speak about the smart city of Toyota, and Bjarke Ingels, as an architect, was on the stage explaining this project. An architect job widened nowadays, a modern architect job. They became program makers of in many cases of these projects, a much more complex project than designing the building. They became responsible for technologies and future technologies, planning much more ahead in the future with technology which is maybe not exist yet. And for that, they need a much efficient and better design communication tools, what they used to have. And that's where we come to the picture. In the background, you can see the animation, exactly timed to Bjarke's presentation. Even when he turned around and walked in the park, it's like exactly that's what happens. It has to be engaging. It has to be understandable for non-professionals as well. And that's showing I think, a direction, how complex is this in the future. So the demand for this kind of content will, I believe, will increase. This one was done by us in Sprint Opera for the Bjarke Ingels group, and a couple of years ago. Just a nice example what is design communication. So overall, what is our added value? Because we shouldn't be the rendering guy who is rendering those buildings, because we know, I told you, with AI tools and everything, we will out of the job quite quickly. We have to give another point of view, not the architect point of view. We have to give and communicate the design real goals. In the meantime, creating an engagement with the viewer. So basically, we need that more classical art knowledge and understanding how to create engaging images and getting inspirations, not necessarily from architecture, because again, we have to be the other point of view, not doing the same what the architect wants to do. Because you will know how to do that engaging image. So therefore, you need inspirations, references, not necessarily from architecture, and the same in brick. So I brought you a couple of examples, what kind of inspirations we gain and get in brick. Why I'm showing you this, it's not because I want to show you these examples. The reason I want to show you how we relate to these inspirations. And one important point, that from now on, if you start to work on images together, you're gonna follow inspirations / references, color palette, composition, storyboarding. That's one of the skeleton of the process, how we do the drafts as well. So the first thing first, when you will do the first draft here, you will sit down and choose the project references, photo references, film references, and whatever. And you need to, especially at the beginning, follow those color palette, everything. That's why I highlighted this now, not, showing you a couple of specific inspiration that watch this movie and look at this picture, how nice is it? Some of them I recommend to watch it. Also, I recommend to, my experience, especially if you have an architect background, that many of you, if you do this job, are lacking of classical art knowledge, which is, I think, this know-how and knowledge is a necessary stuff to learn about these classical painters. Basic classical art knowledge is something what my experience that many of you lacking of that, which is understandable because also I didn't learn too much about this in the architect school. Okay, so let's say there are three legs of an image. Composition is the skeleton, obviously. Visual language, color palette, storytelling. You can say that this is the 3 or 4 legs of an image. composition. I won't go and make a list of the composition rules. You can Google it, or now you can ask ChatGPT what kind of composition rules we have. Instead of doing that, I will highlight one because that's interesting. And through that, I will explain how you should evaluate composition rules and how you should use it as a tool, composition rules. Anyone know? I guess everyone know what is Gordon ratio, but do you know where is it come from?
Yes, from Shell.
From
Shell.
Yeah, Shell. Yeah, but where is it that come from?
From the nature.
Exactly. Thank you, Eva. Yes, it's everywhere. This is something which is a mathematically, natural thing. It's actually the sequence of the Fibonacci sequence. Unfortunately, it's really everywhere. You can see it in everything. And that's why golden ratio became something like a really natural ratio in the art world as well, obviously, because this is something really human, really not human, really natural, therefore human looking at it as a balanced natural aspect ratio. Other examples. I will skip this slide, sorry. Yeah, but about composition rules. This is and this is an example how I try to explain you how you should handle composition rules. This is a Google logo. One of them is the real one. One of them is not good, not the real one. First things first. Can you tell me which one is the correct one?
The first.
Yes. Thanks. It's hard to catch, but the first one is the correct one.
The colors.
No, the colors are correct.
And also the shape.
Shape, yeah. You know what's the funny? The left one is mathematically not correct at all. The right one is mathematically correct. The right one is a circle. The left one is not a circle. But which one is the circle, how you consume it, is a different thing. So if you look at this, it's not circle. The thickness are not accurate. The direction are many mathematically incorrect things in this. But your impression about the logo is different. The circle one is not circle. The non-circle feels like circle. And the reason for that, there are many things which is distorting your brain, colors, shapes, directions, form, everything. And your job is to always keep that natural balance with every element. And composition rules are the same. In many cases, still today, I go down in a random moment and tell the whatever senior artist that, can you push that, I don't know, main character in the third of the image, because it's not in the third. And he's like, no, I tested it, and here's the layer, and this is exactly in the third. And I telling him that it doesn't matter. It doesn't feel like it in the third. It's mathematically maybe, but many other things are affecting this. So your job is to know about these rules and understanding that this has to be, all the time, including in the balance of the overall balance of the picture, but not following them mathematically correct. Yeah. And the last couple of is just a collection of pictures what I collected from Brick, Sophia. Okay, I don't know who's that. We let her in. So these are just examples, nice, clear, funny examples. What kind of references we followed and what was the image. These are like super nice, super visible examples. So, I mean, you immediately catch it. Story, color palette, composition. I don't have to introduce, I guess, the reference for you guys. Others, we have the, you know, the painter here, Simon Stalaha. You have this name? Yeah, you should.
Right image.
Yeah, you should follow it. It's like one of the paintings what our creative director painted. Of course, story and other elements are pretty similar. Yeah, Bosch. Obviously, this is one of my matte painting. This is from Tarkovsky. You have the, you know, Tarkovsky, film director.
Stalker.
Of course, you know it. You are coming from that region. You should know it. I really recommend to watch a couple of movies from him. These are art movies, so not the actual blockbusters. These are all movies, art movies. And then you will realize that, oh shit, many of the things what I saw visually nowadays in the cinema is created by him many years ago. Yeah, for Hungarian viewers, you know this movie, Control, obvious connection. I could continue. The weather project in Tate Modern. If you are in London, you should frequently go to Tate Modern. Yeah, and basically this is the last slide for today. I'm almost in time. Just to a little bit more explanation what we do in Brick and what we do as an artist in general when we're doing visualization work. And again, you will immediately experience this with the reference searches and how you creating the data from the beginning. Try to do the inspiration from other pictures, not copy paste, inspired by other art forms. We can call this mimesis when you mimic something. And this is a totally natural process, how artists doing their work. And I brought you one example, a nice example for a really nice mimesis. It's two films. Actually, on the right, you will see Tarkovsky, some films from shots from Tarkovsky movie. And the other one is the movie called Revenant. I guess you know the movie. You saw the movie, guys?
Yes.
Revenant? Yes, perfect.
With DiCaprio.
Yes, with Leonardo DiCaprio. No question. Both films are amazing. Both films are masterpieces. But you can see how strong is this mimesis effect on the Revenant movie. Right side Tarkovsky, left side Revenant. Camera movement, composition. The same. Story and composition again. Color palette. A little bit story. Color palette and composition. Symbolism. The bird is the symbol of soul. It's the same. And I could continue, we're running out of time. But I think it's obvious. Is it bad? No, it's not copy paste. It's mimesis. It's a natural process of how you create artwork, and this is what we're gonna do and practice here in this course as well. So I hope it gives you a little base for what's coming. I think I've just finished, surprisingly in time. Usually I'm not finishing in time. Guys, if you have any question, then don't hold it back now. I promise this was the strongest and longest monologue presentation, and from now on it will be more hands-on and more more exciting. If you have any questions in general, just tell me now, and later on we will have the chance anyway to talk on this course. If you have, for example, any other unrelated questions about business, whatever, or more question comes up, you can just tell István that, okay, I have a couple of questions to András, and we did a couple of times that at the end of the course, we have had another Q&A session with the participants answering those questions, and it worked really well, so we can do that. Any questions, input? No? You are hungry, right? Okay, guys, then let's.
I have just one question.
Yeah.
Did you consider the Unreal Engine as well as this advantage?
Yes, we using Unreal. We delivered Unreal with Unreal a couple of projects. It has its advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, it's still a game engine. So also the know-how of like how many people can handle it is limited. Also, you know, you will struggle in certain situations to find the proper assets compare what we already have for 3D Max, all the asset collection, stock collections, what we have. Obviously, setting shaders can be struggling, but in certain situations, it's super useful. Funnily, we had a couple of projects when it was much quicker to do it in Unreal than in 3D Max, not just the rendering, but for that purpose, for example, we could use Megascan in a really effective way and really realistic way compared to V-Ray. It was like amazingly quick. In other situations, it was unusable because we couldn't reach that quality, or it was too complicated, or we had to too much forest scattering and everything with specific trees, which was not available for Unreal, and all of these hassles what we can experience. So it's not a question, it's going to be a tool and it will increase on the market. I don't think it's going to be the only tool in the future. It will be for certain situation, a super good and useful tool. It's visible and it's increasing.
What use your VFX artist? What program use your VFX artist?
VFX artist.
Yes, like he made Dust.
Okay, Phoenix mostly.
3ds Max.
Yeah, to 3ds Max. So not more complicated than what we have in 3ds Max. You can do amazing things with Phoenix. There are other tools, but the problem that the complexity of those softwares are already, you know, you have to dedicate your life to that.
Every tool, every plugin needs a lot of the
practice. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you are even looking for like more specialized particle simulation softwares which are dedicated for that, or learn a Houdini or whatever, it's you know, it's you have to then your job is just that. So our challenge that we need this kind of knowledge time to time. So we cannot hire a person who is specialized in Houdini. Another one is specialized in RealFlow. Probably you heard about that software as well, which is just about water simulation. Of course, for a big Hollywood company, you have the chance that having full-time people dedicated just for RealFlow water simulation, even whole departments about that. Or I remember the old Lord of the Rings movie, there was a department of 4 people only simulating the beat of the yeah, of the yeah, dwarf, yeah. So of course we are not able to do this kind of specialization yet, and it's not needed neither. But we have to find tools which is something between. Phoenix is that, because it's already a complicated plugin. You have to struggle a lot with it in order to get a proper result. And for example, when we delivering something for Walt Disney, and we had to do this cruise ship with the waves and everything, and they specifically told us that what kind of waves they have to see, and we had to simulate the water, I don't know, 100 times to get that result. It's not easy. If there is no more question, then I let you go, and we will meet, let's say 1:15. It's a little bit more than an hour. So I think I won't stop. No, I have to stop the meeting, and we will restart the meeting, and then you can rejoin again. Is that okay? Okay, guys, then we're gonna meet not with me, but with Peter at 1:15, a little bit more than an hour lunch break. Thank you, guys, for listening. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.